So basically this summer, my town hosts a yard sale event. The whole town pretty much gets together and does this one big yard sale. This year, me and a friend walked around town looking for any sort of tech we could find for cheap, and we each only had like $100. We got some good deals and stuff and got quite a few things. One of the things that I found was this old HP office computer. It was sitting in some bin and it was only $5. I expected it to not work in all honesty. $5 is $5 though. I mean, the PC itself is your typical office computer from the early 2010s. The sticker on it seems to be one for an Intel Pentium, so that's not very promising. What's quite interesting is that this machine has an EVGA power supply in it. It's quite a surprise, and if it works well, that's a score already, honestly. Something I could collect out of it if it doesn't work. In terms of dust, it's not the worst I've ever seen. In terms of I/O, it's pretty typical for an office PC. It's actually worse than average if I'm being honest. I've seen Optiplexes with much better I/O. It's usable though. I pulled out the RAM to see what it's working with. It has 8 GB of DDR3. At least it's not 4, I guess. It originally came with a crappy old HDD, but for the sake of my sanity, I dropped this 128 GB SSD I found on eBay for real cheap. I don't know where it came from, what it was used for, but it still works, so whatever. It has a copy of Linux Mint on it anyway. There's no way I'm putting Windows on here, so I'm going to be using Linux Mint. Also, I found this old down monitor in my closet. That's what I'm going to use, I guess. I confirmed that the monitor worked, and then I hit the power button on the PC. The first time I booted up, it didn't really post. I honestly feared for the worst and considered it just didn't work, but after reseeing the RAM, it booted right up. I did a quick NeoFetch, and it's got an Intel Pentium G640. It's from the 2nd gen lineup, which means it's got a whopping 2 cores and 2 threads. It supports DDR3 at 1066 megatransfers. It's not the fastest CPU in the world by any means, but can it run Minecraft is what I wanted to know. So the next thing I did was boot up Minecraft 1.0. Minecraft 1.0 was released at a similar time to this CPU, so I would expect it to run. It did end up working okay. While making a new world, the CPU was maxed out, but that's expected. The gameplay was smooth enough. When going into full screen, the frame rate dropped a little bit, but it was still in the 40s to the 50s. I could even punch the cows and everything, man. Tried to blow up some TNT, but then I realized I need redstone torches to do it in this version. I handled it okay, I guess. Next, I loaded up a 1.12.2 instance, and it was a similar story. I was also in a jungle this time, which is more intensive. The settings were at the lowest, and the next thing I did was see if it could run the latest version of Minecraft. To my surprise, it actually did boot up, and I was able to create a world. Turn all the settings down, and then I waited. And waited. When it got into the game, the chunks loaded very slowly. But I expected that. The frame rate was actually not all that bad though. When flying around, the world tended to lag out when playing on a higher render distance. It was almost unplayable, but in a pinch, if you turn the render distance all the way down, I guess you could play it. After Minecraft, I tested out web browsing. At 720p is 60 FPS. It dropped a few frames at first, but after a while, it played it okay. At 1080p, it was kind of a similar story, but it was chugging a little bit to load. 1440p at 30 FPS was a struggle, and it frequently dropped frames. It was pretty much a slideshow at that point. 4K, of course, pretty much didn't work at all. And when it did load, it nearly dropped every single frame. I mean, for basic web browsing, websites were fine. If all you want to do is check your email and look at articles, I guess this is a PC for you. If you like this video and want to see more like this, do consider subscribing. I want to improve my quality in all honesty. If you want to see this PC again in a future video or have something I should try, let me know. And that's all for this video. See y'all later.